Well, figured I'd get on here, let you know I wasn't dead yet. Just that time of the year, busy. Then I have to make you endure that. So, folks, what brings me to the YouTube is it's not new news. It's been going on for at least a couple of weeks that I know, maybe a little longer. Well, I don't know, man. Hard telling. It's just like one day just runs into the next day, into the next day. Yeah, I say a couple of days ago. Shit, that could have been a month ago, or a year or two. Shit, that could have been 20 years ago. So don't pay attention to what I say like that because you may not be right. Anyhow, Section 8 housing, EBT cards, and whatever else you want to call it. Now you know exactly where I'm going with this. What's interesting is these people get on here. They're complaining. They don't want to work. They can't work because they have children. Who's going to watch their precious little babies? They're going to have to get a job. They're going to have to, work 30 hours a week or, some community service or, it varies, I guess. I don't know. Never dealt with that stuff in my life. Don't know people that have dealt with that. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I just get bits and pieces of it, things like that. So they want to complain because man, I've been on this for 13 years, and now they want me to do what? I got children to watch. I got five different children. Well, five children by a different baby daddy or whatever, or whatever, it's not my world. It's their world, not mine. Problem is, we pay for it. Then they get on here and they're upset. They're crying. Oh man, how are we supposed to do this? How are we supposed to do that? Same way you and I've done it. Same way. And they're mad and upset with Orange Man. Or if you voted for him, man, you were something wrong with you. Well, you see, these people are I'm not going to say they're like stupid. They know how to run the system. They know how to run the government. They know the ins and outs of a lot of things like jails. But the system, they know how to use it. They know how to abuse it. So what do they do? It's generational. My mama did it, my grandma did it, and blah blah blah. It's like, well, maybe it's time you changed and grew up. I have no problem with someone that loses their job. Nothing that they did, just downsizing, whatever. And they're not making ends meet like they were, and they have to file for government assistance. Okay, and then they use it for a little while, and then they find a job, and then they get back off of it, and stuff. Not a problem. That's what it's there for, and it's there for people that physically cannot work or mentally can't work. You know, there's people like that. But they just think it's terrible. They can't go in and get their potato chips and their soda and candy and whatever else that's not nutritional. Well, most of this food's not. It's not nutritional. But anyhow, you know, and what really gets to people like myself is their attitude. You know, it's like they're entitled. They shouldn't have to work. What do you expect them to work? And I look at them, and I see tattoos on them. I see weaves in their hair, and I don't know, dreadlocks, and all this kind of stuff. All right, and I'm like, I don't think tattoos are. I think they're expensive. I think to have your hair done like that's expensive, and they got money to spend on a whole bunch of bullshit, and then they spend money on more bullshit in their houses. Yeah, they piss their money away because they don't manage it. They've never been told how to do anything, and it's easy. They don't have to work for it, so they just go out and blow money because it has no value. It just is like a money tree. It just is given to them, and why? Why does it have any? It doesn't mean anything. They don't have to work for it. So they want us to feel sorry for them. And then they sit there and they go, "Oh, little Johnny, he I got to stay home and watch little Johnny." And I'm like, "Yeah, and your little Johnny's a little animal because you ain't watching it. You're on your government phone with your other government people, or you're sitting there in the front porch or whatever you happen to be doing. Little Johnny, he's just running around being a little animal, learning from the other little animals." And I always thought it was interesting, that if they would actually teach their children right from wrong, that there are things that you have to do in society, and one's not being a little animal, because they don't teach them things. It's what you can take. It's what's owed you, reparations and things. I think way back in the day, I think the government did do reparations. They were like, yeah, they'd give them X amount of acres and so on and so forth. They stayed on it. It was theirs. They already tried that, and of course it didn't work out real good. But anyhow, my thing is, if you teach these people, these children, some values and some morals, you know, and that life means something. You say, look what's going on in Chicago and New York and Des Moines and Portland or whatever. I mean, you got these Antifa and these people out there that's running around, thinking that the government's bad because of they're going out rounding up these illegals. Well, they didn't do nothing wrong. Why do you think they called it illegal? Because they broke the law to get here. But that's okay. Now here's the kicker. You probably turned this off. You probably didn't watch it to this point. And this is the kicker. This is what kicks you right square in the balls, okay, people? They want to blame the orange man. Yeah, he has to. Why? Because you've got how many illegals that have come into this country? I mean, millions, tens of millions. And you're putting them up in housing, motels, the whole thing, and you're paying. You're paying thousands and thousands of dollars per illegal. You're giving them all this money. I mean, cash. Besides the EBT cards and the government phone and all the government stuff. Of course, you're getting your EBT cards cut back, and you can't buy certain things. Of course, your housing is getting cut. Of course, things are getting cut and taken away from you because the illegals have come in and taken it from you. Does that make sense? It's costing way too much because we have all these illegals in this country. We didn't budget for that. We didn't budget for it. And you want to blame President Trump. You should be blaming the Biden administration for allowing it to happen in the first place. That's who you really should put the blame at. He let these people in. He set up the give them everything. Newsom, that moron, he set it up. This fat little fucker in Illinois, Pritzker, again, the the the, the state's bankrupt. There's money missing. They can't even find it. They don't even know where it went. Blah blah blah. Why? Because again, he condones this. The sanctuary cities, the bullshit. And then they wonder why they have the problems they have. And they can't pay for things. Does this make sense to you? But it's not them. It's Trump. If you voted for him, it's your fault. See? And then they get then they this is their stupid ideology. This is the way they think. And then they raise a bunch of little animals, and those little animals have no moral compass, nothing. They want to steal and 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 do all kinds of rotten bad things to people. And my attitude is it's real simple. If you would actually teach your child some morals and some values, and to be someone that wants to contribute to society and want to see society lift up and be better, well, teach them. But you can't because you're that way too. So this is what my dilemma is. You won't teach your children how to act properly, and you won't act properly. So people like myself have to carry a gun to protect our lives. That's what the problem is. You show up at a facility that is trying to take people that have come into this country illegally, bad enough, but they're also rounding up pedophiles and murderers and a whole bunch of other stuff. And you're upset about that. And then you're upset because your EBT and your housing and everything else gets cut. Well, these are the same people that are taking it from you, the illegals. And you go out there and you want to get in these guys' faces and do all kinds of rotten things to them and spit on them and whatever else you can do to them, make their job miserable. And I'll tell you what, they're lucky I'm not there because you wouldn't like it. You get out of hand, and I mean that much. You go to the hospital. some of you might be in the morgue. I wouldn't tolerate it. I would tell you one time, get back, do not stand here, blah, blah, blah. Then I'd crack your fucking head wide open. And I'd have dogs there, okay? I'd have tasers, handheld tasers. When I tell you to move, it'd be bzzz. I tell you to move, that dog's gonna bite you. I tell you to move, I'm gonna crack your head wide open with a club. I will put law and order in the whole situation. I'm not going to stand there and I'm not going to talk with you. I'm not going to play this bullshit game with you. See, this is what the problem is. You watch this stuff on TV and the police show up because they have a complaint of a bunch of, teenagers and stuff or whatever, being belligerent, won't leave the store, tearing things up, blow lippy, the whole 9 yards. Police show up, they want to get lippy with the police. They think this is funny. Well, he wouldn't think it's funny because the minute he got lippy with me, I'd tell him, I said, now listen, it's like, we're not going to discuss this. It's not open for discussion. You will leave. And the minute he got lippy with me, I'd crack his head wide open. And everybody's standing there like, well, you can't do it. I'd crack that fucker's head wide open. And the next person would open their mouth up, I'd crack their head wide open. Until they got what I said, told them to keep their fucking mouth shut and leave, they would understand I meant shut your fucking mouth and leave. I would put law and order back in the equation. It's like when I say something, I fucking mean it. See, I'm not here because I want to be here. I'm here because they called me out to do a job. I will do that job. And I'm not going to stand here. This isn't open for debate. We're not playing fucking bullshit games. I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. They wouldn't like me. And I would be one of those sheriffs or chiefs or whatever that got on TV, and I would tell people, I said, carry your gun. I said, one of these people breaks into your house, I said, kill them. I said, they break into your car, try to carjack you, try to harm you, kill them. I wouldn't play games with it. The citizenry would do this. And then the things would straighten up real fast. Because what's going on in this country is going to spread and it's going to get worse. The government needs to come out and pass legislation. The federal government needs to come out and pass legislation with just that. You feel threatened and you kill them, you're all right. Don't worry about getting sued. Don't worry about being prosecuted. Don't worry about nothing. We're not going to handcuff you. We're just going to ask you a couple bullshit questions, and you give us the right answer, you can go home. And if their little family or gang or something thinks they're going to retaliate, well, I guess it's not over until it's over. And hopefully when you go home, your neighbors are like, oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, well, we see him come down the road, or we see him over here. I said, we're going to come help you. All right. This is your country. You are the owners. These people are invaders. They're lawless. And you have to put the law back in place. There's no reason for people to run around in fear. The only people that should run around in fear is the people that are creating the problem. They should be worried. They should understand. If I'm breaking into that guy's house and he kills me, okay, that's the way it is. If I carjack that guy, or I'm going to play tough guy and get in somebody's face and threaten them and blah, blah, blah. And he kills me. Well, little Johnny was such a sweet little boy. But little Johnny grew up to be a monster that we will not tolerate in society. I'm a firm believer you should be able to go anywhere you want in this country. You should be able to walk up and down any street you choose. If there's areas you can't walk up and down, there's a serious problem, and that needs to be straightened out and cleaned up. You got gang markings on you, you're a gang member or something. Well, wanted dead or alive, preferably dead, because I don't think we need to feed you, and we're not gonna have a little. We're just gonna have a mass grave. We're just take a big excavator out, dig a great big hole, and just throw bodies in it and cover it up. Where's my Johnny? Well, I don't know. He's either there or over here or somewhere over there. We don't know. It's like my little Johnny. He would never do. Yeah, right. Never do that, would he? Because you were watching him so much. Because well, gosh, you had to go out and work. Had to get a job. Yeah, I understand. Unbelievable. So quit blaming the orange man. Blame the Biden administration and Kamala. She was supposed to be head of all this, and they let all these people in, and they're the reason you're losing all your benefits. And the reason your world is crumbling and falling apart is look at society because you want to argue and run your mouth. I mean, you get on TikTok and YouTube and run your mouth with a $500 weave and $1,000 tattoo and stuff, and you wonder why you can't make ends meet because you're foolish with your money, our money. Unbelievable. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it. Hopefully, we'll get some comments on this. Good, bad, or otherwise, doesn't matter to me. I got other things to talk about, but we'll see. Not now.